You had a unique view last summer on the return to play committee, or I guess the CBA negotiating committee was your involvement there at the time. Can you just give us some insight into how your involvement this time around into sort of the 2021 return to play committee? How did that come about, and what was your takeaways, I guess, from the experience?
Yeah, I think just some of the guys that were involved on the CBA committee got asked to come back, and some of the guys on the return to play committee, and then it's kind of opened up to anyone who kind of wanted to be involved. So obviously we've had a bit of downtime, and felt like, was able to provide some insight. And yeah, I mean, we worked. There was a lot of calls, a lot of hours put in to trying to figure out everything that has to do with the restart, whether it's scheduling or health and safety protocols or, possible finance changes. So there was a lot of hours, a lot of work put in. And I'm pretty proud of the way that everything's shaken out for us, and really excited to get going again and playing hockey.
And just sort of a follow-up to that, there was a lot of talk last summer about how smooth the process was, that it really was a collaborative effort between the two sides. I mean, there were reports this time around, Andrew, that there was maybe a little more contentious debate going on, and there was some times where the two sides maybe weren't talking as frequently. How would you sort of categorize how these talks went versus what you saw happen in the summer?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was contentious. There was some periods of time where there wasn't as much dialogue, and I think it was everyone kind of just trying to figure out what to do necessarily. I don't think it was, I don't think there was any animosity or, any group trying to stick it to the other. I think it was just everyone trying to kind of have the same goals, but just trying to make sure that we navigate the same path to getting there. So I wouldn't say contentious at all. I would just say it took a little bit more time and planning and patience, and ended up working out for both sides, and figuring out a way that we can have a hockey season and have it as safe as possible.
We'll go next to Kelly Moore from CJOB. Go ahead, Kelly.
Thanks, Gregor. Merry Christmas to you, Andrew. Welcome back on a snowy day. Just kind of curious, because you being involved the way you were, and also you going into a contract year the way you are, does it change the expectations for the business aspect of the game at the end of the season? I know you're excited about the start of the year, but I'm sure that's something that you and others in your situation have to think of because of the different financial landscape now.
Yeah, I think, most players are on, 1 or 2 year deals. So I think everyone kind of had, ways that they thought, things could be worked on or improved upon. But at the end of the day, we put a lot of work into the summer, and, figured out a way for it to kind of minimize the damage as a whole. And, obviously some guys, based on their contracts or their situations, are going to benefit more than others, but it was just kind of the way that it worked best for everyone as a whole. So we weren't too interested in changing that. And obviously, the landscape next summer could be different, but at the same time, that'll sort itself out when we get there. And I'm just kind of trying to focus on my game and, helping the team win and getting going here.
I know when last we spoke for the exit, one of the things you were pretty vehement about was you wanted the team to know, and you were prepared to go after the number 2 center's job with the addition of Paul Stastny. Where is that still the goal for you, Andrew, or do you rescale the situation and look at it maybe as continuing on with Adam Lowry and one of the best third lines in the league, or lines, if you will?
I think I'm just trying to improve my game every day and trying to become as valuable as possible, for our team, and trying to help our team win. So I feel like, obviously with the addition of Paul, he's a great player, great friend to me. And so obviously that's, he's going to be our second line center to start the year, I would assume. But Injuries happen and everything. I want to be prepared to move up in the lineup as I did, throughout the year last year. So, it's not, the end all be all. I'm just trying to improve my game and trying to, become as valuable as possible and get as much ice time as possible and all that. So, at the end of the day, if I'm not helping the team win, then that won't happen. So, hopefully I can, continue to get better and, continue on the trajectory that I've been on ever since I started my career. So I'm just trying to get better every day and trying to prove that I can, play higher in the lineup and be as valuable as possible.
We'll go next to Stephen Wino from the Associated Press. Go ahead, Stephen.
Hey, Andrew, thank you very much for doing this. I got a wacky question for you. You played outdoors in the Heritage Classic last year. Some NHL teams are thinking about doing that this year. I'm curious, did you play outdoors at all as a kid? Is that something that players of your age did a lot?
Yeah, I think it kind of just depends. My family didn't live on a lake, so it didn't happen as much. When you go to your buddy's house, then, that was the time. You have 3 or 4 guys playing 2-on-2 out on the pond with the lights on until, midnight. Those were some great times. But with that said, I don't think I did it as much as some of the other kids, especially outdoor rinks and stuff in Canada. I feel like it's a lot more common than in the US. So I don't think that was as much, but we obviously relish the opportunity to play outside.
We'll go next to Ken Weeb from Sportsnet. Go ahead, Ken.
Thanks, Gregor, and thank you, Andrew. Just going back to being involved a little bit more heavily with the negotiations. I mean, what's it like when you see a guy like Ron Hainsey, a guy who doesn't even have a contract for next year, still being involved? And did you feel like you'd take on a little bit more ownership of that part of the job too, and in addition to the hockey player side of things?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Ronnie's been around, for a while now, and I think he has, a lot of experience having gone through negotiations before, and, kind of, you never really know exactly how it's going to work out until you've been through it. And I think, his experience was really important to provide to, especially some of the younger guys that were on the committee like myself. So obviously it was, still involved, and as a player that doesn't have a contract, for him to kind of continue on being involved, it just kind of shows what, how involved, or, what the type of person he is, and how he's not necessarily just out looking for himself. He's looking for the best out of all the players. So, yeah. And then I think now that I've been through it, you kind of want to, continue to go through it, just because, you have that experience, you have that knowledge from past times where you can, help make more educated decisions and ask educated questions instead of kind of being a guy that, sits and listens and learns. So, there's a time for that. And I feel like, that was part of, what I went through this summer, but now having gone through it, I feel like I have some, some knowledge now and some, some education to pass on to the guys that are going to be going through this the next time around.
Sure. And you touched on Paul Stastny, not just his friendship, but can you go back and sort of take us to what was where he had his biggest impact when he joined your team at the trade deadline in 2018, and what you expect him to bring now?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's just a steady, smart hockey player, and you can't have too many of those. So, I got a lot of respect for his game. I got a lot of respect for what he does off the ice. I got a lot of respect for just the person he is. So, he'll provide, a lot of that leadership and a lot of that stability in our room, which is always important. And yeah, I don't know if I can point to one particular spot that he helped. I mean, obviously he solidified, us down the middle, helped on that power play as we went through that playoff run. But, if he can have that same impact, I think it'll be huge for our team.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Paul Friesen from the Winnipeg Sun. Go ahead, Paul.
Hey, Andrew, how does your team look, do you think, in this new Canadian division? How do you stack up?
Well, I guess we're going to find out. We had some new additions. Hopefully some guys continue to take some more steps. Have the Vezina winner, and that is always a good place to start. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a very competitive division. I think you can kind of look at the teams 1 through 7, and, no matter what way it shakes out, you wouldn't be overly surprised. So, every night it's going to be a battle. There's, great players, on each team, and players that you're going to have to be aware of. So we're looking forward to the challenge, and obviously we're going to get to know each other pretty well over the next 5 months.
Patrick Laine's agent said is Patrick would be served best by a change of scenery. How does that kind of play in the room, and how do you prevent it from becoming a negative?
I think we're past the point of outside things, distracting our team. I think whether it was, guys in the past that have, not had contracts at the current or, at this time going into camp, there's been situations left and right, it feels like. So I think we're kind of past the point of letting outside distractions, worry our team. So we're just trying to get going, get all together on a first day of training camp, get practice in, and starting to build that team feel and that camaraderie, and get ready to go for the regular season. I don't think any outside news or rumors or whatever is going to be any sort of impact on our team.
We'll go next with Jamie Thomas. Go ahead, Jamie.
Hey, Andrew. What are the benefits to you of a short training camp and no preseason games?
We get right to it. I mean, no physical testing, which I think guys kind of look at that and say, "Come on, like we got to do this again." That's a positive. I think it's just we got to get start with an intent and intensity right from the first day of practice that we're playing a hockey game in 10 days. We got to get ready. So hopefully there's maybe a little bit more jump, a little bit more passion, a little bit more intensity in practice, just because we know we gotta prepare ourselves for that first night. Because started training camp, you get through testing, and then you look at it and you're like, all right, we got a bunch of time to work up to where we need to be for the first game, but we don't have that here. And you can't have 3 or 4 preseason games where you're kind of trying to figure things out and work your way through them. We gotta be ready to go right away, and can't start out 0-4, and they matter right away. So it'll be good. I think it'll be a fun way to get going. Everyone will know the stakes right away.
And with your guys' schedule being one of the tougher ones, a lot of late nights, what do you think of the baseball style schedule you have this time around?
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Almost back to college days a little bit, where we're having series left and right. So feel like it's gonna be something new, but at the same time, it's hockey games. It's like you said, it's some late nights, getting into hotels and whatnot. We're used to that, so shouldn't be too much of a change or a distraction. It'll just be something we got to handle as we go along.
We'll go next with Scott Billett from the Winnipeg Sun. Go ahead, Scott.
Thanks, Gregor, and hello, Andrew. Happy holidays. Just a question for you. You talked a little bit, or you were asked about distractions before. You're coming into another contract year. How do you view this season? It's a weird one, 56 games. I mean, you have less time, I suppose, to make your case for whatever it might be. But how do you kind of view it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of the same as the team. I got to hit the ground running. I want to continue to, like I said, prove myself, continue on the trajectory I'm on, and obviously there's less time to do that, so you got to get to it right away. But I feel confident in where my game's at. I feel confident in the work and the preparation that I put in the off season. So I don't think it's too different than a normal contract year. You just got to hit the ground running and be ready to go right from the get go.
Yeah, and I don't want to harp on. I think Kelly asked. I don't want to harp on the Paul Stastny thing, but I mean, you were pretty adamant that the goal was to take a run at that 2C. Obviously, and you've kind of admitted yourself that that door seems to be shut. I guess. How does that play into the mind going into this season, knowing that the team kind of, for the lack of it, looked elsewhere, I suppose, for that 2C position than potentially yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just continue to prove myself. I think over the course of each season, as you've seen over the past 5 years, that I've improved greatly. So feels like it's just another opportunity for me to do that again and kind of continue on the trajectory that I'm on. I don't think it's it's not the end of the world. Obviously, Stas is a great player, and like I said, great friend, and he's going to be a impactful addition to our team. But that's not going to stop me from trying to improve my game as much as possible and try and become the best player that I can be.
Thanks, Andrew.
And we'll go next to Murat Tesh from The Athletic. Go ahead, Murat.
It's an odd one, but I kind of want to follow that up with a fun one. I don't know if you saw the Steph Curry making 5 minutes worth of 3-pointers video going around. And I'm just wondering, I mean, hockey's fun. We're about to enjoy it. You're probably jacked to get going again. What's the Winnipeg Jets practice version of something that crazy, these skills that we don't always get to see?
I don't know if there is one, honestly. I think, for him, he shoots 1 million 3-pointers during a season. You don't see too many guys going through the legs more than, I'm not doing it, but I think he saw KC do it once or twice maybe. So, all those skills of, kicking it up off your skate or whatever it is, I don't think those necessarily apply to game situations as much as Steph making threes. So, for us, that's a pass on the tape. That's a one-timer top right. That's, making the right plays at the right time. So I don't know if there's an equivalent just because of how applicable him making 3-pointers is to us, with the fancy dangles or whatever. You don't really see those happen too much. And if they're attempted, they usually don't work.
I think one of the funny stats was he makes like 100% of those, but in game it's like 40 or something like that, which just shows how good defenses are and how little time you have. I'm wondering maybe players that we don't think of as superstars. Is there anybody on your team that has really surprisingly slick hands or anything like that, doing things like that might go unheralded?
I mean, I think if you're in the NHL, you got good hands. You know what I mean? I think, guys can pull off certain moves like that, 3-on-3, whatever it is, when you're kind of maybe not as intense as game situations are. I don't know if there's a guy under the radar that has, flashy hands like that. Maybe if you're a Frenchie, maybe Pro would be the guy. But I don't know. I don't think you see like too many, at least of our guys that work on that stuff. I think, that's kind of for Instagram and for show. It's not necessarily game applicable.
Alrighty, and we'll go back to Ken Weeb from Sportsnet. Go ahead, Ken.
Sorry, thanks, Andrew. How would you describe what the offseason was like? What was your focus? And how strange was it? You had basically four games in between March to now, I guess. What's that allowed for you in terms of your personal development? I know you worked hard on skill development in the last couple of years and finishing and those things. Is that what you've continued to work on?
Yeah, it's definitely what I continue to work on. I think, tried to, do a lot more mobility work in terms of, working out in the gym. I think a lot of it's changed a little bit of that over the years as I've gotten, older and 26 now. I don't necessarily know if I need to get too much stronger. It's a lot of mobility work and that sort of thing. And then, on the ice, it's all about, skill development and understanding, plays, not the fancy kind of skill that we were just talking about. It's the plays that you need to make every play, 100%. It's the, picking up pucks off the wall, understanding where you're getting contact from, a lot of those types of things. So, I worked hard again this summer, worked with the right people, and, I'm ready to continue to, like I said, go on that trajectory where my game's headed.